Well, hello there, happily married woman. It is Dr. Siobhan Farad here, founder of Relatable, your marriage coach, helping you to create a happier and more loving marriage, all without having to make over that husband. And I wanted to come to you this evening, happy Memorial Day, by the way, to talk about change. And I just wanted to come on and share like a personal experience that I am still going through. But I jotted a few notes down on my phone that I wanted to bring to you because I think it's really relevant for a lot of the work that we are doing together here in this group as happily married women. So the title of this live stream is Change is Hard, but dot dot dot, and I'm going to get to the but at the end. So let me start with my issue, what I'm dealing with now. So a very good friend of mine, one of my biz besties, is starting a detox program. So she's a health coach. Jennifer Dent Brown is her name. And she's starting this detox program. And so, we've been talking about it. And the truth of the matter is I have several pounds that I need to lose. The truth of the matter is I am totally addicted to sugar. It is my drug of choice. I have been very frequently visiting Dunkin' Donuts. They have a butter pecan swirl flavor that they only have in the summertime, which is my favorite thing. And so I've been there like pretty much every day for the past 3 weeks. Not this week, ironically, but anyways, I digress. So she has this detox program, and it's this thing that I'm like, I know I need to do it, but all of these like doubts and fears have crept in. And, I'm sitting here like contemplating day in and day out, like, do I join this program? Do I do it? Do I not do it? Am I ready to do it? And I just wanted to come on and share with you my personal experience, but also to just talk through with you what it's like when you know you need to make a change, and you're having a hard time doing it, right? So change is hard, like it is. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, that we've spent our entire lives being a certain way. We've had a set of experiences that have led us to respond and to react in certain ways to certain situations. And in many cases, like that's benefited us in some way, shape, or form. It's served us well, whether it's helped us cope with situations or whether it's helped us achieve things in life, whether it's helped us relate to people in particular ways. Whatever, habits you have or whatever ways of being you have, you've seen some benefit to being that way. Maybe it's not a long-term benefit, but in the moment, it works for you, right? Let's just say in the moment, it works for you. And when you're confronted with the opportunity to change, something that you know you need to change, something that deep down you actually want to change, but you have a really hard time doing so or committing to doing so, it's likely that there are a couple of barriers that are coming up for you. And I'll just share again with this example in this 14-day detox program. I'll just share with you some of the barriers that came up for me as I was like sitting there with myself, like grappling with like, why is it so hard for you to just press the like enroll button, Siobhan? Like, why are you sitting here looking at this computer screen for like an hour and like immobile? Like I'm totally like frozen, like I can't do it. Should I do it? Should I not do it? I'm not sure. Right? And so these are all the barriers that came up for me and that may come up with you in many different aspects of your lives, right? And so maybe it's particularly related to marriage right now. Like maybe there's a program or maybe there's a service or maybe there's some resource that's been presented to you that you've like thought about and you're like not moving on it, right? It's like sitting in the back of your head and you're just like, I should do something about it, but I'm not. And if you're not, this is probably what's happening for you because this is what happened for me. So number one is you're just not ready to commit, right? So wanting something is very different from going after something, right? To actually go after something better in your marriage, something better in your life, something better in your health, requires your action, right? And it's very easy to sit there and say, I want things to be better, or I want to be, happier with my husband. I want us to have better communication. I want us to feel more connected and closer to each other. Everybody would raise their hand, right, to say that that's something they want. But fewer people will actually take the steps to actually do it, right? And, for me in this particular experience, it's sort of like, yes, I've been saying for months and months, like I need to get my sugar under control. I need to lose a few pounds. And, when it comes time to actually taking a step in that direction, it's a scary thing. And for me, what I found today, because the detox program starts today and tomorrow, I was like, looking at like cookies. I was looking at all the food I like to eat and thinking like, oh, this is going to be the last time I get to have this for a while, or I'm not going to be able to enjoy this anymore. I'm going to have to like deprive myself of all the other things that I want. And that's not the case at all, right? There is a way that you can still be happier. There's a way you can still find a way to experience all the things that you really enjoy. But we let the thought that we can't, right? We let the fear of committing keep us stuck. And then we never see the possibilities of how things can actually work out for us because we're too stuck over here in our comfort zone of what's familiar to us to make a change. And that's the next point, right? That we really crave comfort. We crave the familiar. And so I can't tell you how many times when I'm working with couples and it's so clear that what they've been doing and the way they've been operating, the way they've been communicating does not work. It doesn't work. Otherwise, we wouldn't be having the conversation. And yet when I show them the tools, when I give them the tools, when I, direct them for exactly what to say and what to do, they sometimes, right, in the earlier stages, revert back to their old habits. Our bodies, our minds, like regress to the mean. We regress back to baseline, right? What's familiar to us, because again, it served some benefit for us. But a lot of times we're not looking at the long term, right? We look at that short term benefit, specifically when it comes to communication and like arguing, right? It's so easy in that moment to want to argue your point because that's what you need to do in that moment. But you don't see how over time, trying to be right all the time and trying to prove your husband wrong all the time is damaging your relationship over the years, weeks, months that is happening, right? We crave instant comfort and we sacrifice that for long-term benefits, long-term comforts, right? So that's another point. The other is we don't really want to be held accountable for doing the things that we know we should do, right? So we have the best intentions. I'm just going to be honest. I'm just like you in the same way. Like, we have the best intentions. And as I considered joining this group program, it was sort of like, oh, she's going to be like looking for me to be doing the right things. And I'm going to have to follow through on the things I know I should do. And, that comes with making change, right? And so much of the time, we know that having someone hold us accountable, having someone check in on us, to make sure we're doing the things that we should be doing is really helpful and really beneficial to us. But there's a part of us that's like a little bit of a rebel that like wants to like secretly do the things we shouldn't be doing and no one noticed, that we get a pass, right? We want to give ourselves a pass for things. And that happens in our marriage all the time. Like, we want to give ourselves passes for the way that we talk to our husband, or we want to give ourselves passes for, not putting forth the effort in our marriage in the way that we should, or not being as kind and going the extra mile as we should. And the moment our husband falls short, like, we're just so quick to point it out about him. But again, it comes from a place of not wanting to be held accountable, that we say we want the change, we say we want the help, But when someone's really going to sort of call us out, then we just want to hide. We want it to like not be noticed. We want to sort of skate by and keep doing the things that we've been doing that are not working for us. So that's another thing that's probably going on. The other piece, which is similarly related, is like we don't want to give up our excuses, right? So for me, it's sort of like, well, when it comes to this detox program, like I got 2 small kids, I haven't talked to my husband about doing the detox. Like, what if he doesn't want to eat these foods? And, am I going to have to make meals for everyone else and I'm eating something different? Or how am I going to find the time? And, do I really, have what it takes to do this? Like excuses, 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 excuses. We're so good at coming up with excuses. We're so good at it. And we hold on to them. We hold on to these excuses so much that we like transform them into reasons that are like truths, that are like absolute truths, that like there's no way, I'm going to ever find the time to this. There's no way this is going to work for me, right? Like specific to this detox program, I had sent her a message. I was like, are there artificial sugars or sweeteners as part of this detox? I'm actually allergic to any artificial sugar product. And, I was like secretly hoping that like maybe there would be, and then I could like use that as an excuse for like why I couldn't do it. And of course they're not. And of course she told me as much. And, I just had to recognize it for what it is. And so I posed the same question to you, like, what excuse are you holding on to? Like, what excuse are you trying to use for the reason for why your marriage is not in the place that it should be? What excuse are you using for maybe like why you and your husband aren't communicating the way you would like, right? Is it the excuse that it's his fault? Is it the excuse that he's not putting forth the effort, so you're not going to put forth the effort? Is the excuse that just honestly, like, he's just wrong about certain things and the way he goes about doing things is just absolutely insane and ridiculous? Like, what excuse are you using? And why are you holding on to it? If things aren't exactly the way you would like, why would you choose to hold on to some excuse that's holding you back? You just have to sort of like ask yourself that question. And one of the principles that I've learned, and so popular in the personal development field, is to take 100% responsibility for everything, for things that you think aren't your fault. And that's not to say that you like say and, raise your hand for being at fault for things that you're truly not at fault for, but you still have to find somewhere in every situation in your life to look yourself in the mirror and to take responsibility. And in my example, when it came to wanting to use this excuse related to artificial sugar, I was like, if I'm taking full responsibility for this, I can find a way to make it work, right? Like, I can find a way to make it work if I really want to do it. And the same for you. Like, if you really want to do something, if you really want to see a particular outcome in your marriage, you can find the solution and you can make it work. Where there's a will, there is a way. Like, we say that so flippantly, but if you really think about what that means, where there is a will, there is a way. When you really recognize that you are a child of the Most High God and that the power of God lies within you, there's nothing that you can't accomplish. There's nothing that you won't see come to pass. If it's a desire in your heart, it exists. You just have to go and possess it. And so the way you do that is by taking 100% responsibility. You look at yourself and you look at what is it that I can do no matter what constraints in your situation, no matter what constraints in your life, no matter what circumstances you're up against, no matter what limitations and barriers you feel are standing in your way, there's still something you can do to move you in the direction that you want to go. You just have to be willing to take full responsibility and let no excuse hold you back. This went off. I know. Let me find my points here. So you don't want to give up your excuses. Okay, so at the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, for you to really be able to make the changes that you want to make, for you to be able to see the results in your life that you want to see, you have to give up the fear, right? And the excuses and the comfort for that thing which you desire. And so for me, at the end of the day, the reality is I'm tired of looking in the mirror and being disappointed with the reflection that comes back to me. I'm tired of going shopping or trying to go shopping and being limited by the clothes that I can buy because I'm like trying to find something to like cover up all of these extra pounds that I'm carrying. And that's not to say that we can't still appreciate our bodies. That's not to say that we can't love the skin we're in, because I do. I absolutely do. And I appreciate my body and what it's been able to accomplish, bringing two human beings into this world. It's miraculous. But I also know that I'm just not at my healthy peak potential. Like I'm not doing the things that nourish my body in the right way. I'm not moving my body as much as I should. And so again, you have to look in the mirror at your marriage. Like, are you doing the things that you know you should be doing? Are you setting aside that time together? Do you have rituals that are healthy, that help you stay connected? Are you giving energy and life to your marriage? Are you just letting things fizzle out and go however they're going to go? Right? And I realized that when it comes to my body, I've just sort of let it go. And I don't want that anymore. Right? I got events. I got to be in DC in July. If you haven't heard, I am doing my Real Life Wife event. I got to change the name of that because I can never say it really fast. The Real Wife Life event in DC on July 29th. Like, that's soon. And I want to be able to get up there and talk to you guys and like feel amazing and not worry about like, oh my gosh, are my Spanx like holding in my stomach appropriately, right? I want to be free and confident, and starting this detox and getting my health together is part of that. So what about you? Maybe you're planning a family vacation later in the summer and you're like, I would love to be able to go on that vacation and just have an amazing time because me and my husband are in such a good place, right? Or maybe you just want to be able to go on a date night and have an amazing conversation, right? So the work to achieve that goal starts now, right? It doesn't start when you're there and all of a sudden it's just going to like magically happen. You have to put in the work now to get there. And it has to be important enough to you that you're willing to make the sacrifice now for that to happen, right? And what else? What else did I want to say? Oh, so ultimately I ended up signing up for the program. So I'm like doing this detox. Yay for me. If you guys want to join me, I'll see if I can get the link in and put it in here for you. But at the end of the day, I know what I want, right? I know how I want to feel. I know how I want to look. I know how I want my clothes to fit me. And that's greater than my fear. That's greater than my excuses. That's greater than, my lack of motivation for wanting to change. Because I know what success will look like to me. I know what I can achieve if I really put my mind to it. If I eat the right things, if I exercise, right? And so for you, do you really know, and can you feel within your body and within your heart and within your soul what success would look like for you in your marriage or in any area of your life? Like, do you have an image and a picture of an ideal day between you and your husband? Do you have, an ideal conversation where you're like sitting on the couch and you're talking freely and you're able to express anything? You're able to talk about anything. Do you have that image in your mind? Like, do you know what success is and feels like and looks like for you in your marriage? If you don't, then you'll never really be willing to make the change because you don't really have a tangible thing that you're trying to achieve. But when you know that you know that you know that you know that you and your husband can feel so connected, that you and your husband can truly talk about anything, that you and your husband can feel like the best of friends, when you truly know that, then all the excuses go to the wayside, right? You don't tolerate things sliding because you know where you're going, right? And so that's when change is easy, when you have a clear direction, when you have a clear image of your goal and your mind is set on achieving that goal. And so that's where I am now, right? I'm in it. I'm in it to win it with this detox. And my mind is made up. The decision is made. The money is paid. And so you guys watch out, right? You're going to see a transformation happening with me. And I hope the same for you, right? Whatever it is you may be considering or thinking about in your own marriage, like, get that image of success. Get that image, get that dream picture, that dream conversation, that dream date, that dream vacation, whatever it is that you would like to feel, see, experience, do, be with your husband. Get that in your mind and fix your mind on that. And then let go of the excuses, right? Let go of the excuses that are holding you back from doing that. Now, if you've been listening and you're like, wow, Siobhan, like, I know I should probably really get some help with what I'm dealing with, I would love to help you, right? I would love to have a conversation with you. I'd love to talk through what you're struggling with, see if my approach and my strategies might be able to help you to get to that place of success in your marriage. And so if that's you, you've been listening and you're like, yeah, I really could use a little bit of help. I really wonder, maybe working with Siobhan is the right thing for me, or maybe she has some program that can really help me. Then reach out to me, right? You can send me a private message directly, right? Most of you probably know how to do that. You can friend request me. Like, I'm open. I'm here for you. I'm here at your service. You can also just leave a comment here in this post, and I'll be sure to respond back to you. But again, if you know that there's a change you need to make and you could use some help, get the help that you need. Get the help that you need. And I think for me, one of the biggest turning points that made me enroll in this program was I had to ask myself this question. I'm like, if I don't do this, then what am I going to do? Right? Like, I've been mentally preparing and trying to adjust my diet for a while now, and it hasn't really achieved the success that I'm looking for. And so I had to ask myself that question, if I don't do this particular program where there's all this accountability, where there's all this support, where there's a plan laid out for me, I don't even have to think about it, then what am I going to do? Because staying in this state that I'm in is no longer tolerable. And so I'll pose the same question to you. If you're not in the place that you want to be in your marriage, if your communication is not what you want it to be, if your connection is not what you want it to be, what are you going to do to fix it? Right? What are you going to do to fix it? That's for you to figure out. And I'm here if you think that I can be part of that fixing process for you. So, thank you for tuning in. I hope you have an incredible, incredible rest of the weekend. And now I've got to get my mind right for that detox program. All right, take care, ladies, and I will be back with you sometime soon. Bye-bye.